Take a look at this motherboard assembling itself. Building a high-tech product like this requires sourcing thousands of individual components, raw materials, and the machinery to put it all together. The scale of this business-to-business purchasing is massive. We are looking at what economists call industrial goods. These are intermediate goods purchased by organizations specifically to facilitate their own operations or to manufacture other products. But classifying these purchases creates a unique accounting challenge. An organization has to accurately categorize a $1 million robotic arm on the assembly line, as well as the $5 bottle of lubricating oil required to keep its joints moving. In industrial supply chains, the physical characteristics of an item do not matter. Classification is dictated entirely by a good's functional relationship to the production process and how it impacts the firm's cost structure. Tying these non-physical, function-based categories together is the first step in aligning the realities of the factory floor with the corporate balance sheet. Let's look at this classification model. Under industrial goods, we see a flat list of 5 categories, from raw materials to operating supplies. While this identifies materials in a warehouse, this grouping lacks the financial hierarchy required for advanced management. We can reorganize these items into a rigorous 2-tiered system, foundation goods on one side and entering goods on the other. This fundamental split in business logic separates long-term capital investments from short-term operational expenses. Organizing inventory by its financial lifespan allows operations managers to accurately forecast costs and manage procurement cycles. To map out this abstract concept, we can look at this cross-section of a computer manufacturing facility. The first task is to isolate the foundation goods within this environment. Foundation goods are the manufacturing machines and structural assets upon which all production depends. Their primary characteristic is that they act as enablers. They are never used up or consumed in the manufacturing process. Because they remain intact, accounting departments treat them as long-term investments. Their cost is charged off incrementally as depreciation over a course of years, as the factory fades. We can break foundation goods down further. The first subcategory is installations. These are the fixed buildings and heavy equipment bolted to the floor. Installations dictate the absolute maximum production capacity of a firm. They are custom-designed, high-stakes investments negotiated among a very small pool of potential buyers. Supporting those massive fixed structures are secondary capital elements. This brings us to the second subcategory of foundation goods, accessory equipment. This includes portable factory tools, Mobi testing stations, and handheld devices. These tools facilitate the production process, but critically, they stay on the workbench. They never become part of the finished product. Unlike the custom-built installations, accessory equipment consists of highly standardized goods. Because a wrench or a testing monitor is standardized, procurement teams choose vendors based heavily on price, quality features, and basic post-sale services. Both installations and accessories make up the non-consumed infrastructure of production. They provide the permanent stage upon which the manufacturing process occurs. With the permanent machinery in place, we can look at the massive volume of materials flowing rapidly through the factory. This is the second major taxonomic tier, entering goods. These are the ingredients and components that actively feed the manufacturing process. Unlike foundation goods, entering goods are entirely consumed or integrated into the final output. Highlighting the silos, the first subcategory here is raw materials. These materials originate from agriculture or extractive industries like mining and lumbering. At this stage, they have undergone only the absolute minimum processing required to make handling safe and convenient. These materials represent the start of the supply chain. Getting them to the factory floor requires massive volume logistics before complex manufacturing can begin. Moving down the line, we hit the next subcategory, fabricating materials. These items have undergone initial processing before they enter this specific manufacturing cycle. In our computer plant, this means heavily prefabricated components. This integrated circuit was manufactured by an outside company, then purchased to be slotted directly into the motherboard. The more complex a final product is, the more it relies on these prefabricated materials over natural raw materials. The final class of entering goods is highly specific, facilitating goods, highlighting the maintenance carts. These operating supplies are utilized solely to keep foundation goods running and handle entering goods. There is a vital distinction here, as the oil flows into the machine. Facilitating goods are consumed, but they do not become part of the final product. Financially, these supplies have extremely short lifespans. They are budgeted strictly as operational expenses. Entering goods represent the continuous flow of materials through the factory floor. They are either physically integrated into the product or consumed as expenses to keep the machinery running. Stepping back reveals that this color-coded factory operates as a unified financial machine. A goods classification is not determined by its shape, size, or material. It is strictly determined by its lifespan and its financial treatment. It balances the long-term capital depreciation schedules of foundation goods against the rapid operational expense ledgers of entering goods. It is the difference between non-consumed infrastructure and consumed integration. This taxonomy dictates the entire procurement strategy. Securing foundation goods means establishing long-term vendor partnerships, drafting customized engineering specs, and negotiating post-sale service contracts. Securing entering goods requires managing high-volume supply chain logistics, ensuring reliable, continuous delivery, and aggressively negotiating the price per unit. Stripping away the physical metaphor leaves us with this pure structural logic. Mastering this classification system allows supply chain managers to align their physical procurement directly with accounting realities, driving tight organizational efficiency and strict cost control.